right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 5 of the Reactor Corps. It's a special show that we do here at the Whatnauts whenever we can, where we get to sit down and talk about some of the biggest blockbuster movies that happened, or Netflix shows, or stuff like that. Whatever we want to talk about, we get to go watch it or experience it and then come back here and discuss. My name is Kyle Springer, and along with me for the ride, I have Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, how are you?
I am good, Kyle. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Yes, it is a good start to my week.
Awesome.
Yesterday was kind of boring. You and I got to record in the morning for the review show, which was like the main event for my day. But then after that, I stayed home and I didn't really do anything. So I was a lazy bum the rest of the day, and then work was super easy today, so it was good. Good day.
Oh, yeah, I'm on the opposite end of the balance beam. I then recorded another podcast, like a big RPG session yesterday after I was done recording with you. And then today I worked for 10 hours again. Whoops.
Oh, man. I don't know how you do that. It's crazy.
A lot of iced coffee, a lot of other podcasts.
Yes.
I will, this might sound narcissistic, but sometimes I will put on our podcasts because they're like, I don't know, it's weirdly comforting to remember back to and have it played for me, a fun conversation I had with a fun friend. And I don't have to pay attention to it because I just did it 2 weeks ago. So it's the perfect form of comforting background noise when you're just stressed and you just have to get stuff done. Try listening to your own podcast.
So, fun fact. Well, here, before we get into that, to keep people's interest, we will be talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Marvel's latest movie that just came out. We are recording this Monday night on opening, or I guess just after opening weekend. Hoping to get this up first thing in the morning is when this will go up. But fun fact, Paul, who is the co-creator of the Whatnauts and former co-host, he stepped down a few months ago. Actually, he never listened back to a single episode of what we did. And I guess you don't have to, right? Podcasting is a weird thing. You do it and put it out there for other people.
Yeah.
But like you said, you're like, this feels kind of narcissistic. But I've listened to our own podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's comforting.
Sure. But a lot of people don't like to hear their own voice recorded. I've recorded my voice so much that I don't care. It's weird because people do that thing. They're like, "Oh my god, is that what I sound like? I sound so stupid," you know. But I've recorded myself so much that I both of those what I sound like in my head versus what I sound like in my headphones has now become the same thing.
Good.
So yeah, I guess that's a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird skill or quirk that you pick up after you podcast for long enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Paul Kang never listened to an episode of the Whatnauts back. Because I was like, yeah, man, go listen to our stuff and see what you can do to get better, and see if you're. Because from time to time I'd be like, okay, so I'm noticing we're doing this, or we're just talking in circles, or we're saying the same thing over and over and over again. So we'll see what happens. But there you go. You put your own podcast on in the background. I like it. I approve. Whew. All right, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Let's dive in.
Yes.
Let's get started. This is going to be a spoiler cast, so if you have not seen the movie yet, please go watch the movie and then come back, because we don't want to spoil it for you unless you really don't care about spoilers. We're gonna be getting into our reactions and stuff, so go watch it, come back here, and we will dive in. I think we're actually gonna do a little bit of general impressions first.
Yeah.
Kind of what your experience was like, stuff like that. So yeah, Melissa, where were you on the night of the murder?
I was at the Galaxy Theater again.
Galaxy Theater again. So you mentioned this. What was the one that was it on the last one we did, episode 4? What did we do for episode 4?
I don't know. The last one I did was Infinity War.
Okay. Last Reactor Corps you did was Infinity War. Sounds good. So keeping in step with the Marvel movies then. There you go. So did you go see this opening night?
Yes. My friend and I went opening night. We've got our little tradition now. She picks me up from work on Friday. We go out to dinner, and then we go to the Galaxy Theater, which is not close to either our homes or my workplace, but it's got Galaxy in the name, so we went there to see Guardians of the Galaxy, and now we're just stuck. After like 4 years, we have to go to this theater to see the Marvel movies.
And then a new step in your tradition, we have a Galaxy Diner here in Richmond. So you guys have to go see the movie and then fly to Richmond and eat at the Galaxy Diner and then fly back, all in a single night.
Nope, I'm making an entire weekend of it, Kyle. You're not getting rid of me.
There you go. So you went back to the Galaxy Diner with your tradition of going to see all of the stuff there. What was that like?
It was fun. We were in the mega screen or the
Mega
ultra screen. It's one of those two. Yeah, like one of those giant theaters, like the heated recliners and everything.
Oh man.
It was good. It's honestly the perfect way to see a movie. It does exactly what it's designed to do, and I always have a great time. And this was a really, really fun movie to see up there.
That's cool. Good. My seats were not heated, but they did have busted springs in the cushions. So that is
brutal.
That is a fantastic feature if you like things poking you. No, it's not that bad, but yeah, for a fairly big, like for the capital of Virginia, are like one of the theaters here by the campus is not very good. I mean, it's not terrible, but you know, they haven't done the like recliner seats or like reserved seating. It's still the Wild West.
Oh no.
But no, I went on Saturday early afternoon. I told myself I was gonna go Saturday morning, but I am not a morning person, so Saturday morning was like 2 in the afternoon. And I used Movie Pass. Again, Movie Pass has been working out. Thankfully, I had a big debacle with them trying to get my card at the start. Finally got it. Unfortunately, they're starting to introduce surge pricing, which I haven't experienced yet, but I think that is stupid. And yeah, so thankfully I didn't have to do that, so I just swiped my thing and went on in. But it kind of is going to deter me from seeing things opening night, which Movie Pass kind of already does, because you have to be at the theater to like check in and buy that stuff. And if it's opening night for like a big Marvel movie, that's not going to happen at all. There's only certain theaters on there that you can like use your phone and like check in while you're still at home and stuff, or do like the e-ticketing. But yeah, it was Saturday afternoon. I was in fairly small theater. Wasn't super packed, but it was pretty full. Good mix of people there, and I had a lot of fun.
Awesome.
It was good. I went by myself. I tend to go see things by myself. I don't. I'm not a. I mean, I would go with friends, but I've had too many of those things get to be like, oh, next time we should invite this person, and it gets to be like, instead of like the like 3 or 4 of you that actually like it, there's like 50 of you, and it's just like, this is the worst. We can't do anything. We can't plan ahead. Some guy's in a different theater for God knows why. Like, you know what I mean? It's terribly. So I'm just gonna go by myself. I'm gonna worry about me, and that's it. But yeah, what did you think? You said you liked it.
It was really fun, which was what I had heard, and what I expected after Ant-Man 1, Ant-Man the First.
Yeah. Ant-Man 1 was like surprise hit. Like I think it was one of the ones who were like, is Marvel gonna flop on Ant-Man? Because it's been in development for like 10 or 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's going on. They've changed directors. They've done X, Y, and Z, all sorts of stuff. And it ended up being very good. I think, like, surprisingly good. Like, no one expected it to be as good as it was. And so they kind of had to knock it out of the park with this one. So, good stuff. Well, let's dive in then. This one, it picks up. So this, in the timeline, this takes place kind of before and during and after Infinity War. Which I had seen people online being like, that post-credits scene, oh my gosh, like blah blah blah. And so I knew, I was like, something Infinity War related is coming. I know it is. And so as the movie went on, I got more and more anxious. I was like, oh no, who's it gonna be? When is it gonna happen?
Yeah.
So yeah, it had this like escalating, like, I'm having so much fun watching this because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I think this, in my opinion, is the funniest Marvel movie. Now, a lot of people are gasping and screaming at me right now, being like, Kyle, fuck you. Thor Ragnarok was the funniest shit that has ever been.
And I'm a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy too. That's my personal favorite.
And that one is up there. I would say maybe Guardians 1 is a little better, funny, comedy wise, in my opinion. I don't know. But I think Thor Ragnarok to me had a lot of great jokes, but they tried to mix in these really like poignant character moments, and they would those were cut off way too short by the amount of jokes that they had in Thor Ragnarok. And this like we knew this was going to be a comedy from square one. Like I didn't expect Thor Ragnarok to be that funny. But this, I knew it was going to be a comedy. I felt like it was paced very well. Especially just of the comedic timing and the jokes and stuff like that, right? Yeah, I mean, where does that fall in Marvel comedy movies for you?
This was a good one. I think this was really inventive.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked, did you go see Deadpool 2 earlier this year?
Actually. I haven't seen the first one, which is why.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Shame on me, right?
Oh, I'm surprised.
I know.
I figure you're in for any comic book movies, you're in for all comic book movies.
I usually am. And I didn't go see Deadpool because I think something else came out right around that time when the first one came out. Mm-hmm. And I went to go see that instead. And so I didn't have money to go see Deadpool, the first one. And I also don't really like Deadpool as a character. Like, I don't read his comics. I've never been a fan. So it was just like, well, I guess I'm not missing too much. And then the second one was coming up, and I was hoping to have Movie Pass by then, but that didn't happen. So, haven't seen them yet.
The reason why I bring it up is that in Deadpool 2, I don't know if I'd really call this a spoiler, he gets, like, his legs blown off. But he's Deadpool, he can regenerate, but he is slowly growing new legs, so it's an adult torso on top of baby legs, tottering around. And I feel like this movie's version of, like, short Ant-Man, like leprechaun-sized Ant-Man, is like the better execution of big hero is made small and goofy. Like, it felt a little bit subtler. They didn't lean on it quite as hard.
It was more situationally funny than like, oh, he just chopped off his legs and so they're slowly growing back, and it's kind of gross but kind of funny.
Yeah, like this wasn't gross, this was just silly, and like he's got the aspect where like he's growing and shrinking because like the controls are broken, right. And then he's like, he's running around, he's in a school, he's close to child size but not quite, and I liked that a lot, how he doesn't really pass for a child, and he's wearing that jacket that's like too big for him, and he's flapping his arms around.
It just looks so stupid.
This was superior.
Like, the thing is, you know that all of that was, like, mixed in with, like, green screen and post-production, and they filmed him actually doing that, but then had to, like, digitally scale him down, you know? All of that stuff. And just imagine how big that hoodie was in real life.
Yeah, oh my god, yes!
It'd be huge. That's Thanos' hoodie. That's the Hulk's. Like, give that to the Hulk, and he wouldn't rip his shirt every time.
I didn't think about it like an actual physical thing somebody had to sew for Paul Rudd to wear.
Yeah. This was fantastic. It was hilarious. So talk to me. What is going on in what was going on in your mind as you watched this film?
Okay, so first of all, I think it's crazy that between this and American Gods, we watched two things this week that involved the Partridge Family song "Come On, Get Happy."
Yeah.
That's an incredible coincidence. And I was watching that episode of American Gods with the friend I had gone to see Ant-Man with, and we like both turn and look at each other. We're like, it's fate. But that's particularly funny about the scene in Ant-Man where they play "Come On, Get Happy." It's him stuck in house arrest, and he's like, I can keep myself entertained, and they're playing this peppy inspirational 70s song while a guy stuck in isolation just does mundane things to entertain himself while he's stuck there, and it reminded me so much of Desmond in the Hatch.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know if you got that too.
I didn't think of that, but yes, now that you mention it, or that scene when is it Desmond, or who's the woman that's down there when they're
Juliet?
doing Juliet, when they're downtown.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Evangeline Lilly didn't even have to be in this scene for me to get real big Lost vibes off of it.
I love Evangeline Lilly. You know, she almost retired from acting after Lost.
Yeah.
Which I guess is one of the things that was going around on comic book news sites within the past couple weeks of like, Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out now. Did you know that Evangeline Lilly almost quit acting after Lost? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Clickbait this and clickbait that. Yeah, so all right, so let's see. How do we want to tackle this? We don't really need to do a synopsis, but let's start at the beginning, kind of, and start talking there. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Cool. Yeah. So this picks up sometime after Civil War. Is where, I mean, well, yeah, we said kind of before, during, and after Infinity War, but. Obviously, that takes place sometime after Civil War. But Paul Rudd, he's been basically stuck at home for, 2 years?
Yeah. Like, this is why we have not seen him since Civil War, is that when he got back after that big fight in Germany, they're like, well, you shouldn't have done that. We'll offer you a deal. You're under house arrest.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny that he's just like shoved off into like, well, we'll see you in 2 years. And yeah, so like we're introduced to him. He's at the end of his like house arrest thing, and we meet his FBI agent, that's like tracking him, the Asian guy.
Oh, I loved him.
Oh, he's fantastic. I loved him. And he's like the most dull yet overly chipper FBI agent I've ever seen. He's just so lovable.
That actor's
just
great.
So he's tone deaf. Like he reminds me of Michael Scott, but not tone deaf to the point where you're kind of insulting a lot of the time, right? Like he did this thing where he was like explaining all of this, and that's in violation of Section 8, and he does all of this technical stuff to Ant-Man's kid, and Paul Rudd's character just goes, "Man, you sure are great with kids, huh?" And he says it sarcastically, right? And he's like, "Yeah, in my spare time, I'm a youth pastor." Without skipping a beat, just like,
yeah,
come on, dude, like, you should know.
Yeah, there were lots of really fun new characters in this. I thought I thought Ghost was pretty cool.
Yes.
And I really liked, I almost called him Perry White, but nope, that's who he is in the DC universe. Her and
Goliath.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Goliath was his character's name. Yeah, Goliath was good. I don't really know much about Goliath. From what I understand, or from what I feel like I've seen him in, like in the comics, I've seen him as a good guy, I think. But I could be wrong, because I don't know anything that I've read that has had him in there. Ghost was really cool too. They had some awesome effects with her. Side note, I saw one of those, I think it was like comicbook.com like Easter egg things, and apparently her father is a character in the comics who, of course, no one would know, because it's a stupid minor character. Her father's name is Eggman. Like, that's his, like, alter ego. And yeah, he's this, like, bald scientist dude with a head that looks like an egg.
I guess. As much as any bald head does.
I guess. And so, yeah, it was just a weird, like, that's who, like, that character is, supposedly. And, yeah, like, it was just it was a good combination of, like, well, Goliath isn't really evil. Like, he's not trying to do anything bad. Like, again, with Thanos or Magneto or stuff like that, people always understand their perspectives, right? And I think with Goliath, that was kind of the same thing. It's like, okay, look, I know you're not trying to do anything bad. You're actually trying to help this person. But you're doing it in a way that you're kind of a dick, and she's doing some fucked up things, and it's spiraling out of control very fast. You know? So I liked him. I thought he was a good character.
And I liked how many scenes they had just the two of them. Almost like there was this little, like, straight drama play acting out, you know, among this big action adventure movie. Like, they had so many just dramatic, like, back and forth, like, nothing special or fancy, nothing crazy sci-fi going on except for her visually glitching. Just human drama sprinkled in there. And I thought that was a neat balance to how, like, big literally big the rest of the movie was.
Yeah. Which is, it's, yeah. or how small it is in comparison to I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where you get to see the, like, superpowers in action, or, like, these quantum physics, you know, at work, you know, this big, almost fantastical stuff happening while they are having this. I mean, they do have that father-daughter relationship thing going on there, so that was really neat. And it's almost paralleled by Scott's relationship with his daughter, too. Yeah. Because that was another father-daughter. There's a lot of father-daughter stuff in this movie. I'm like, that's just kind of clicking with me now as we're talking about it here. Yeah, because, I mean, you have Hank and Hope, you have Scott and Cassie, and then I don't remember Goliath's real name, but Goliath and Ghost. And they're all trying to help their daughters. Well, be there for their daughters. I guess. So that,
yeah, and
cool.
You got some mom sprinkled in there. You got Hope's constant driving search for her mom, and then her mom shows up, and her mom's really cool, and there's this united little family.
By the way, Michelle Pfeiffer is still gorgeous. Like, she looks amazing. That's crazy.
I could not place her at first. I think I, like, forgot she was even in the movie, or I don't think she was in the trailers. I think she's on the poster, but, like, there's a lot of faces on the poster, and I never looked that closely at it as I was just walking past it in the movie theater.
Sure.
It's like, I didn't know she was in this, and I'm looking at her in that opening flashback scene going, who is this? And then when she finally shows up, when she finally shows up at the end, I'm like, oh, I can map those bones onto somebody I have seen before. I was thrown off at first because I was trying to think of a modern person who looks...
I've seen her in a spandex costume before. Where have I seen her in a spandex costume?
And I was trying to think of a modern person that looks like she did in the 1970s, and I'm like, no, wait, that wasn't a current person that they then made old. That was an older person that they made look young.
De-aging.
That's why I couldn't recognize her, because there's no person that looks like that right now. Which is something I gotta watch out for. Like, these Marvel movies keep hitting you, like, here's young Robert Downey Jr., here's young Kurt Russell, here's young Michelle Pfeiffer. I feel unstuck in time.
They just mentioned that Samuel L. Jackson will be de-aged for the entirety of
the entirety
of
he doesn't even look
Captain
that old
Marvel.
to begin with.
Well, I mean, yeah, he doesn't look old, but the Captain Marvel movie is going to be taking place primarily in the 90s, so before basically all of the other Marvel movies.
Yeah, I guess that's like as many as I am. I'm a 1990.
Yeah, and they kind of do that thing where it's like, it's definitely kind of taking place in the present day thing, right? So if they go back to like in the 1990s, that's like 20 something years ago. So they have to de-age him by 20.
Yeah,
years.
and he was so big then, like, to have him looking the way he is now, even though he has aged very well, playing somebody in the 90s, everybody in the audience going to be like, no, but, like, I saw you in Pulp Fiction, which was at the same time, and you don't look like you did in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it's strange. That de-aging thing is... I mean, even in the couple films that we've seen it in over the past couple years, they've already gotten immensely better at it. There's been some mishaps, like, I guess Tarkin in Rogue One.
It's always Tarkin.
Wasn't he all CGI?
Well, yeah, over a mocap guy way underneath a bunch of dots. Yeah.
But yeah, so he was all CGI, but like when we even in Ant-Man, the first one, which I don't are they is this a start of its own new trilogy? Like, is there going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, or is it Ant-Man and the Wasp 3?
Oh no! I didn't think about how they're going to name that.
But yeah, so in Ant-Man, just Ant-Man, we did see a flashback of Hank Pym, Michael Douglas's character, with Peggy Carter and all of that stuff in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh yeah!
They de-aged him, but it was a very obvious, like, there's some kind of like computer facial thing going on, but I know that's you. Like, that is actually Michael Douglas there. They're just kind of putting, for lack of better terms, a Snapchat filter on it, right? But even since then, like, I felt like the scene of him when he's with Hope, when Hope is really young, like, I felt like that looked a hell of a lot better than what the last one was. It's fascinating.
Yeah. So, speaking again about all of these parent-child relationships.
Yes.
My parents were on vacation. They were on vacation. They went on a weekend trip on their motorcycle to the Evel Knievel Museum.
Okay.
Which makes them sound more badass than they are. But, like, to sit there in the theater, like, watching this story about parents and their daughter and, like, other father-daughter sets. And, like, this girl trying to find her mom again, like, the feels hit me real hard. And I'm like, Melissa, your parents are in the next state over. You will see them again in 3 days. You saw them 3 days ago. Like, it made me feel like a big old baby.
That's awesome. Like, you're gonna see them tomorrow. Come on, Melissa. Jeez.
I'm like, I want to go on an adventure with my parents.
My parents live on the opposite side of the country, so I don't get to see them but once a year. So that's what my dad did too. He grew up in Virginia and was like, I'm gonna go to college on the opposite side of the country, so you guys can't drop in and like eat lunch with me, because that's gonna be weird.
That's the opposite of what I did. I went to college 20 minutes away from my parents' house and then went home every weekend. See above, big old baby.
There you go. Good stuff. So, what of the three father-daughter relationships then, what was your favorite? What spoke to you the most?
I think I like Hope and her mom together better than Hope and her dad. I love Scott and Cassie. I love when she's talking about how she wants to be his partner and he thinks she's framing it like
cute.
Yeah, he thinks she's framing it like she wants, Hope to come in there and be like cool new stepmom, be a partner in that way, and he's like,
I meant me.
Yeah, and she's like, don't laugh. Like, it's so sweet. And I love how they're just each other's actor. Yes, and I love how they're each other's best friends. Like, that's something you haven't gotten in any other, like, parent-child type of relationships in any of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
They are each other's BFFs forever. There's an extra F on the end of there.
Yeah, BFFs. No, yeah, I really like Scott and Cassie just at how comfortable they are with one another. Because, like, I mean, I feel comfortable with my parents, but I don't feel that comfortable,
Yeah.
Where I can, like, talk to them about, like, sex or, or something. I mean, if I really needed some advice or something, I know I could, but still, oh, pardon me if you guys can hear some background stuff going on there. My roommates are having a bonfire, and we have a bunch of people downstairs, and someone was just screaming. What was I about to say? That completely derailed me because I hear just but yeah, like, there's, like, he goes to her to get advice, like dating advice, and she, like, actually gives him sound advice too. Like, that relationship is fantastic and I love it. I saw this online. How would you feel about this? So after Avengers 4, we don't know what is happening with the Marvel Universe, except for one or two things. But they, like, do you remember, I want to say it was like 4 or 5, well, must have been longer than that now, when they announced all of the Marvel movies on that one day, and they were just like, Captain America 2 this date, Iron Man 3 this date, Avengers 3 Part 1 on this date, Avengers Part 2 on this date, and they just had like 8 movies that they announced. Like, we haven't gotten that yet, and they've said that they will do something like that again, but they're gonna wait till after Avengers 4 to just be like, bam, here's the next, like, here's the shape of things to come, right? They've teased New Avengers, which they did, I think, at the end of Civil War, when it's like Cap, Natasha, Falcon, Wanda, like, those in the comics, that team was the New Avengers. Like, that was their title, the New Avengers. So they've teased that. Didn't look like it really went anywhere with that. But in the comics, Cassie Lang ends up being a hero as well. And she's a member of the Young Avengers. And I don't know if you've watched Marvel's Runaways show.
I have not.
Or The Gifted, or
I have not yet.
Cloak and Dagger. I liked The Gifted, and I really loved The Runaways, and The Runaways is one of my all-time favorite comics, period. But they're all more like younger kid, teen-centric characters, so I'm wondering if they're gonna take a note from that and be like, hey, what if we, cast more heroes and characters at like Tom Holland's age right now and do Young Avengers or something like that. I forget what her superhero name is, but she's basically an Ant-Man kind of thing, where she can get small or large. But how would you feel about something like that, to see her actually be his partner in something, or to go on and do her own thing, like take up Ant-Man, or take up the mantle of the Wasp?
I can see it 100%. I can see it 6 years down the line from now, as we live in 2018, Kyle. We've got the mentors of the new Young Avengers.
Perfect age.
Yes.
Because in 2 or 3 years, when they start thinking about that stuff, they cast her then, and then it's another 2 years or so till a movie comes out. And she'll be, I have no idea how old she is, but she'll be at that like perfect teenage acting age.
Yeah, and like I can see like the formula of the team now. We've got the mentors, we've got Spider-Man, and we've got Shuri. And then the kids, we've got Cassie Lang, we've got that theoretical baby that Tony and Pepper might have if his dream was true. Yeah. And then Clint Barton's got 3 kids, and I know there's got to be like more scattered around. Like there's some Asgardian cousin Oliver or something.
There's precedent in the comics for Loki being turned into a kid. So there is Kid Loki.
Oh my god, to have that, like, after what happened in Infinity War, like, is he alive? Is he dead? Neither. He is teen.
Yeah. And so, side note, now that we've talked about that, how awesome would it be? Because, so the one thing that I love about Cassie's character in this is how much she loves just gross, disgusting things.
Yes.
Like in the first one, she got that stuffed animal, and it was just the ugliest thing, and she goes, "It's so ugly, I love it." And then she walks in on Anthony, who's like in the bath, and she just has this big smile, like, that's disgusting, and I love it. How amazing would a team up between her and X-23 from Logan be? Wouldn't that be amazing? I would kill to see that. Because X-23 would be totally serious and just like murdering a whole bunch of people. And then that would make Cassie just like... You've seen a kid on like a super like sugar rush where they're just like and like running off and stuff like that. It would be wild. Ridiculous. Okay, back to reality, because we can only review the movie that we saw. So yeah, I think there's a lot of great father-daughter relationship stuff in here. What did you think about the development of like the ex-cons? Michael Peña's character and T.I., and then I don't know the other actor's name, but the three of them are a riot.
Yes.
What did you think about them and where they were going?
They're so fun. I'd like to see where they were in this movie versus the first movie. I like how like they're still They've still got that mischief streak going through them, which I feel like is a very gentle thing to say about 3X cons, that they have a mischief streak.
Yeah. They're honestly trying to like start up a good, clean business.
They really want to help people.
They're just dolts. They're just stupid.
One thing that did kind of bug me about this movie is that I don't even remember the guy's name, but they say repeatedly throughout the movie that they have to put together a pitch package for this client. Like, oh, this is the big beginning client that could, like, make our business. If we've got this groundwork to deal with, you know, if we have this foundation, like, we can really succeed if we get this one client. And I kept expecting us to see that client and have it be somebody important. And, like, I thought that's what the post-credit scene was going to be, because I felt so set up for that, and that never paid off.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the name of them just being like that. So I was like, I mean, maybe it's an obscure reference to something that I don't really know, because I didn't know the Eggman thing. And again, I know the name Goliath. I know he's a character, but I don't know a thing about him.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if it was that, but I guess I forgot the name. I have no idea what it was. So I can't go look it up. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I don't know if I expected that to be anything, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be, like, a full plot point, but I thought it would, like, we'd just get to see, like, a glimpse of it, and, like, you know, a little montage of scenes at the end of the movie, like, everybody has their happy ending, and then you see, like, Michael Pena, like, shaking hands with whoever this guy is, like, we sealed the deal, and then that would be, like, somebody, just some tiny little Easter egg or something, or like, this is somebody we've seen under an alias because they're setting up some sort of like a shell corporation, or this is a little tease for something to happen in the future. That felt like something that would go there, and it didn't pay off, and it felt weird.
It would have been a nice thing for Stan Lee to do.
I love the cameo he did have, though. Just what a line. I had a lot of fun in the 60s, and now I'm paying for it. And how it's like, literally, like, he sees a crazy thing happen, and he's like, oh, I fried my brain with drugs, which is the implication of that line. But also the meta line of... Okay? The meta line of, I played a part in creating all this comic book nonsense, and now look 60s. Where we are. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I just thought that was a really smartly written line to put there.
It was. That was a lot of fun. Something else I was hoping they were gonna do. So in the Marvel Netflix shows, they don't do Stan Lee cameos, but he's kind of had a cameo in the sense that he plays a cop in the Netflix shows, and they have his picture on the wall sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it's like an employee of the month or like a retired cop that used to work there. So when Hank and Hope got arrested and was in the interrogation thing and they were escaping, I was really hoping that when Hank put on the cop outfit, that he walked out, that they were gonna think he was Stan Lee. Like, oh, Stan Lee! Like, there you go, it's good to meet you, you know? You're
who has been a cop in both San Francisco and Hell's Kitchen.
Well, yeah, but like just the idea that Stan Lee is a cop in this universe, and I mean he's a lot of things in this universe. Because I think in Iron Man he gets mistaken as Hugh Hefner.
That's also a fun one.
Yeah, something like that. But and then he's hanging out with the Watchers, and
Yes.
In one of the Guardians. I think that was Guardians 2. So I mean, like, if he thought his car shrinking was wild, like, did he forget what happened like 2 months ago out in space?
Maybe this is him speaking not with the, oh, I did a bunch of drugs in the 60s, but speaking as himself. Oh, I wrote a lot of things in the 60s. And, like, the Guardians 2 Watcher thing is just the beginning of these getting more and more meta.
Yeah. Well, did you hear before that end credit scene, did you hear the theory that Stan Lee was Uatu, the Watcher?
Yeah, I think I did, yeah.
So yeah, they're like the Watchers. They're this group of people that appear in the comics whenever important events go on, and
forbidden to interfere.
Yeah, and there's one basically for each like universe thing, and the one in the in the universe that Earth is in, his name is Uatu. And a lot of the characters know him and, you know, stuff like that. But there was this fan theory going around that Stan Lee was actually Uatu, and that's why he's been seen in all of these movies kind of around things that are happening. Which I thought, I was like, oh, that's fantastic. I love that thought. But didn't work out like that. Anyways, yeah, I liked where the ex-con team was. I'm kind of rooting for them.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of lovable idiots. Bunch of lovable idiots.
Yelling about oatmeal.
Yeah. Well, you
also
can sprinkle some cinnamon in it, and then yeah.
That was also something that hit me hard, because I'm like, I eat oatmeal for breakfast every day, and I know I could tell you like a dozen cool, fun things you can put in your oatmeal to make it more exciting, which is something I learned from my parents. Again, like
that
me
argument.
A baby.
That argument is funny enough on its own.
Yes.
But then Scott gets involved and he gets roped into it. But
I love that his desk is just a card table.
And in the middle of it, he realizes that's like, oh shit, I got roped into this. Let me act like the big man here and be like, well, actually, we need to focus. Come on, guy, you know.
Yeah.
And Hope's just like, you're an idiot too.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. So you mentioned one thing that you didn't like, and that was kind of the idea that the security, that big client for them, didn't turn out to be anything major. What about, was there stuff about this movie you thought they could have done better, or didn't connect like you thought it would, or you were hoping it would? Anything along those lines?
No, I was really pretty satisfied with it. Like, the emotional beats hit me really well. It was really funny. I think it was plotted very nicely. I really like that Ghost got to live at the end, because that's very commonly, like, my friend and I were talking about this as we were driving home, like, that's commonly a sort of villain that would get sacrificed for, like, the greater good, or, like, you know, we don't want to kill you, but we have to have this thing that you also need to have, and we need it for good reasons.
Yeah, and then she's sitting there, well, S.H.I.E.L.D. used me, and I killed for them, so I'm a bad person. I'll sacrifice myself, and I'll be the hero that inspires you guys to go, you know, beat the real bad guy. You'd
expect it to be something like that, but no, she's still living out there, which is nice.
Maybe her and Bucky can go get a drink and share some war stories.
I like that idea.
Yeah, because that I got like major like Winter Soldier vibes. Like she was this assassin that Shield was using to kill all of these people. She's this super spy, and yeah, I was just like, huh, that's interesting. I'm kind of wondering like why Natasha never mentioned anything about that. If she knew who the Winter Soldier was.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. Well, the thing is with Bucky is he would get put on ice when they didn't need him, and she seems more recent. Like she's only been doing it as long as she's been alive. I still think Natasha would have at least heard about her.
Yeah.
But that opens up a lot of stuff because there is talk of a Black Widow movie, rumors here and there. Who knows if it'll actually happen? But that opens up a whole lot of stuff. Like, well, while Bucky was on ice for like the big important stuff, he was like we had Ghost who was doing the smaller, more manageable stuff. So who knows? Give me 1 sec here. I have to let Maddox out, and I will be right back.
Oh.
He heard his mama, so he was like, I want to go see my mama. Okay.
Aww. Just like Hope.
Yeah. What was I saying before this? She got to live stuff with Bucky.
Yeah.
Who knows if they'll do Black Widow movie. But yeah, I like that she got to live. I think... I don't know if they're gonna do this, but the thing in the comics is that the villains always kind of manage to come back, right? They get sent to jail, and then they get out of jail, and then they start something new, and so I'm wondering if we're ever gonna see something like that happen down the road.
Yeah.
Where a villain we've already seen get put in jail that hasn't died, or if they keep Ghost around, maybe she'll come back as a villain down the road.
You know who we've got like that is the Vulture.
Yes, that is true.
Probably more if I think about it, but
yeah, well, I think we're getting Mysterio in the next Spider-Man film, which I'm so excited for Mysterio. Mysterio is so good for a Spider-Man villain, especially in a movie too. But yeah, like I'm wondering what she's gonna do, and what exactly does her suit made it so that she wouldn't phase as much, or so that she could control it. So does that mean that it, like, was she completely healed? Is that what Janet did to her, or did she make it so that she was stable, and so now she can control it?
Oh, it might have been that she was stable, I think.
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think about it now, and I don't remember.
I don't
remember if they really answered that or not, because that would be a thing. Like, if she still has that power and she still has that costume, that's a badass looking costume.
That is a cool costume. What if...
Yeah.
And, like, maybe by the next time they're ready to bring her around again, they've also gotten to the point where all the legal dealings with Fox are settled, and they're able to bring in the X-Men, and we have a Ghost and Shadowcat fight or team up or something?
Something like that, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Who knows? That's an interesting thing to think about, what they'll do with her next. Um, So yeah, I'm trying to think what I didn't like as much about this movie. I think my only complaint, which like is honestly just a nitpick. Like this movie was really good. I don't think it was incredible in the sense that like Infinity War or I would say Winter Soldier or Civil War was like, this is just a fucking phenomenal movie. Like it doesn't matter if it's superhero stuff or whatever. Like those ones just make phenomenal films. It was a good movie, but in the grand scheme of like Marvel films, like it still feels like it kind of is middle of the road, right? And so like I kind of wanted something a little bit bigger and a little bit more lasting, like to have more of a lasting impact on the universe. But at the same time, considering when it takes place, like there's not much that you could do that would really, it all pales in comparison. Which I guess kind of brings us to that end credit scene, which I don't get it. Why do people still leave before the credits on a Marvel film?
Oof.
10 years, people. They've been doing this for 10 years. Every single one of them. Some of them have multiple scenes during and after the credits. Like like that. Like this is becoming a pet peeve. I'm just like, what are you doing? Don't stay. No, don't go. Like, but yeah. So let me ask you this. You kind of mentioned one thing about hoping the security client would be the end credit scene. Is that actually what you were expecting, or like what were you expecting that end credit scene to be?
I didn't know if they were going to tie Infinity War in or not, just because Infinity War is so big and so it's a huge shocker. It's really intense. And I didn't know if that intensity was going to be a good match for the tone of this movie. And also, like, if they're so protective about Infinity War that, like, we're not telling you the title of the sequel yet. And, like, they wanted to keep they wanted to keep the end of Infinity War, like, so under wraps. I didn't know if for a movie coming out fairly soon after Infinity War, if they would include a reference that direct to it. If anything, I was thinking, okay, mid-credit scene was the security guy. Post-credit scene might be Infinity War.
Okay, so you were thinking it was more of a two-pronged attack. They were going to do some real short, like, mid-credit scene where the client turns out to be Stan Lee, and
something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So I didn't know exactly what to expect. I figured it was going to be some kind of tie-in to Infinity War. But since I didn't see it opening night, everyone's reactions seemed like they're like, oh my god, that like end credit scene. But they all had like smiley faces, and like it seemed like a much more positive
like it's
reaction.
Just a great joke.
Yeah, like they just saw something really, really cool, and they can't wait to see the next movie in terms of like, oh my god, like maybe we got to see our first glimpse at Captain Marvel.
Oh,
or like something like that would have been fantastic. Like to just drop that in Ant-Man in the Wasp would have been like, holy shit, we need to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp right now. which apparently Captain Marvel film just finished filming.
Oh.
I think within the past week or so, something like that. Who knows? Or like in my mind, I was imagining like all of them being in the quantum realm, and then while they were in there, that's when Thanos does his snap, and so they get back out, and it's like during the middle of everyone is like fading away, but they're fine. It's just like, what is happening? Like they just like have you ever watched the show Community?
I've seen sporadic episodes of it.
You need to watch that entire show.
I know.
It's incredible. It's fucking hilarious. I'm sure you've at least seen the GIF on Twitter or Tumblr or something.
Oh, yes,
of
yes.
Donald Glover's character,
Yes.
Troy, walking in to this room and just stopping because, like, everything is on fire, and he's just like, what?
Yes. Yes.
Have you at least seen that episode?
I have seen that episode.
It's a fantastic one. And yeah, like he literally leaves the room and everything is perfectly normal. Everything is fine, and he's gone for all but a minute. And he comes back and like someone is being stabbed, the room is on fire, like just things have gone to hell. And I kind of expected something like that. Like, what if, because again, like I didn't know how much of the quantum realm we were gonna see, and this whole idea of, well, maybe Janet is still alive. It's like, okay, well, so then does time really pass the same way? Because what does she eat? That's strange. That's still an unsolved mystery. But so it's like, what if them being in the quantum realm for what seems like to them nothing more than like 2 minutes is actually like 2 or 3 months, and they come back in the middle of the like Infinity War fight, and they see it happening, and I guess they're off somewhere else, but yeah, they just come back to like helicopters falling and stuff. I just like, what in the world? I thought that was what it was going to be. Instead,
it's worse.
So wait, now that I think about it, they do kind of answer a little bit of the stuff about Ghost. I think she is stable because they send Scott back into the quantum realm to gather that energy for her.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, I think she's stable as long as she gets energy, and they just have to keep going, re-inoculating her.
Yeah. And it seems like that one capsule is going to be all she needs for a long, long time. But yeah, so he goes into the quantum realm by himself. It's only Scott. It's only Ant-Man. And that's when Thanos snaps his fingers. And Hank and Hope and Janet all die. And I'm like, that was a bit of like, oh shit. Like, how is he going to get back out? That was a fantastic cliffhanger.
It was. You know how I think he's going to get back out? They said, I don't remember the line anymore, but there's some line about time. Like, Hank says, the way we're doing this, like, you might get lost in a time vortex. He says something like that. Doesn't he?
And
yes.
We can't save you if you get caught in a time vortex.
Yeah. I think...
I mean, that may have just defeated that hypothesis of this idea of we can't save you if that's what you go into. That's not gonna happen.
But
who knows, though? So you're thinking time warp, some kind of.
Because Doctor Strange saw like 12 million possibilities, and he's like, "There's one where we can get out." And I wonder if he saw like the one, like Scott slipped through the right bunch of particles, or like at some point, like Doctor Strange gets the time stone back, and he's able to like reach in and like pull Scott back out. Because I feel like Doctor Strange definitely can interact with the quantum realm. They've not confirmed this to me, but I believe it in my heart.
Well, yeah, so there is a lot of speculation about some kind of time manipulation thing using the time stone. But we don't know exactly.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we talked about it on Infinity War Spoilercast. It does feel kind of cheap on one hand if that's what they do and they just undo everything. But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what they're gonna do? Because it's difficult to kind of... Like, I have no idea what they're gonna do. And I love that it's like, how is he gonna get out? How are they gonna beat Thanos? How does Captain Marvel figure into all of this? Is someone else on that roof? What happened to Cassie with her dead? Is this why she steps up to become the next Wasp? Yeah, that would have been... So in... I don't know if it's Scott who does it, or if it's Hank, or... I think there's also been someone else who's been Ant-Man, if I'm not mistaken. But the villain from the first film, Yellow Jacket...
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, in a lot of the interpretations, in a lot of the comics, it's actually one of the Ant-Men, the people who've worn the Ant-Man costume, but like them doing bad things. It's them as like, oh, you've turned to the dark side. And so like I was scared for a second there. I was like, no, it's gonna be Cassie that they kill.
Oh.
And Scott is just gonna go fucking bananas. And he's gonna want to fuck some shit up, and that's how he gets involved in Avengers 4. But at least we don't know if that's the case. She still could be dead.
Yeah.
But we don't know. Crazy stuff. It was good. I really enjoyed this. This was Marvel's 20th movie.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was their 20th movie. Think about it like this. If this was a TV show, this would be like episode 20 of like 22, 23 episode season.
Oh my... Yeah, and like, what, Captain Marvel's next, and then Infinity War, and Infinity War Part 2, whatever the mystery title is.
Yeah.
That would be like the season finale of Marvel movies, the show. Whoa.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then what's gonna happen season 2? Who knows? Who knows? Man. I mean, the thing is, Scott has gotten out of the quantum realm before.
Yes.
And so we know he can do it, and he can do it by himself. So he can get out. It's still not ideal. Like, that's not how you're supposed to get out, and I think that took a lot out of him, to actually do it the way he did. So yeah, like I have no idea. I'm excited for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stoked. I really hope they do Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, and they just they started as like the next, like that was the first in a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, especially because movies like Captain America or the Avengers are usually bigger, more dramatic, lots of death and stuff like that. It's good to have a movie like this that is, like, as much as I said earlier that I kind of wanted more lasting stakes, like it's also good to have this kind of low stakes, let's just have a good fun romp. Let's just watch Ant-Man go steal something, you know? And it has like nothing to do with anything else. I felt like this was a good like palate cleanser after like the pure stress that was Avengers Infinity War Part 1.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stuff. Any final thoughts?
Not about the movie. I have an unrelated anecdote I may share with you. Like, well, I can't tease this and just be like, I'll tell you off mic, and people be like, what is it? No, you were talking...
I mean, you can tell me off mic if you actually don't want to share it on here.
No. I just hope somebody else will find it as entertaining as I do. You were talking earlier about how you thought the theater in the state capitol would have been nicer. And it reminded me of this past December, I went to a wedding in Jefferson City, which is the capital of Missouri. And my mom went with me. It was my old college roommate who my mom got to know well, so she invited both of us. And after the wedding, we went on the big capital city tour of like the Capitol building and all of that stuff. Yeah. And we went on like a Sunday morning, and so and it's December too, so nothing's in session. Nobody's there. It's like our tiny little tour group and the tour guides themselves, and that's basically it. So they're walking us around all these different parts of the building I don't think you'd normally go in, just because nobody is there. It's a ghost town. Yeah. And I'm seeing all this amazing art and architecture and like Missouri state history, and just little peeks into the lives of government happenings. And one of them is on like a little bulletin board next to somebody's door. I don't know, some very minor governmental position. Okay. This little bulletin board next to this guy's door is a flyer that says, "Hey, I have rented out the local theater for an exclusive government employee-only showing of Star Wars The Last Jedi." You get to see it early, also early in the day, because it was at like 10 a.m. or something crazy. Like, wow.
You realize the government is the bad guys in those movies, right?
I mean, not just like, hey, all my buddies that work with me, even, just like cool co-workers, we get a little bit of an extra privilege around here, being that we're in the capital city. And
well, you can rent out movie, like an entire, like you can rent your private screening of something, because I guess the comic book store that Eric Mannix works at, they do that for every Star Wars film too, because he mentioned that when we did our solo Reactor Corps. That may have been the last one that we did. No, last one we did was Incredibles, and the one before that was Solo. To answer my question from the start of this podcast. Yeah, but he mentioned on this Solo one that that's what they do. They rent out the entire theater for themselves, and it's all of the employees and their and their families that go watch Star Wars.
I just thought it was really fun that You have a lot of different things you could do with your power as a government employee of whatever rank you are. And what you want to do is you just want to go see Star Wars as early as you possibly can in a private theater in the otherwise small town of Jefferson City, Missouri. And also, the flyer that this guy had pinned outside of his office door was not like plain text typed it up in a Microsoft
Comic
Word document.
Sans.
Not like text over a picture, just the movie poster. Like, he took a piece of fan art, like a beautiful fan illustrated poster that he found somewhere, and he laid the text out really nice over it, and it was a custom job, and so much care went into it, and it was my favorite artifact of Missouri history I saw the entire day. The current modern history of this guy just building his own Star Wars screening. I took a picture of it. I will send it to you.
Taken the actual thing. Just like, yoink.
But it wasn't done yet. I wanted everyone to go see Star Wars.
I mean, but just to have it for yourself when no one is looking and just be like, I'm going to take you home with me. Because history. Oh, man. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about does it then for our spoiler cast discussion of Ant-Man and the Wasp here on the Reactor Corps. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to this, whether you guys are on YouTube or as a podcast. We have a bevy of podcasts you guys can listen to and get all that info at thewhatnauts.com. If you like this show, if you like any of our other shows, please go to patreon.com/thewhatnauts, and you guys can support us for only $1. And that, with the exception of this podcast, because we try and do this one as soon as we can and launch it as soon as we can. With the exception of this one, the Reactor Corps, you guys can get all of our episodes early on Patreon for supporting us only for $1. And right now we have 2 weekly shows going on, and we have some more in the works for down the road. So you guys get 8 episodes a month early right now. That is a bang for your literal buck. So that's a steal. Go support us on patreon.com/thewhatnauts. Go to thewhatnauts.com for all the other info. All our podcasts are posted up there. Like, share, subscribe. Do all that stuff. Yeah, I think that will do it. My name is Kyle Springer.
I am Melissa Wilkinson.
And this has been the Reactor Corps. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.